Welcome back to Dark Nexus. Tonight, it's Act 3, Chapter 102. We pick up in the Forsaken Caravanserai. Grip is dressed like an inner-sea sailor, modeled after his halfling pals on the Starling. Dora looks younger and, disturbingly, more like Tima. Dabwick has taken the shape of a tall, slim human this particular visit, and Vic looks exactly like he had in the real world before your Dreamlands excursion began. And, of course, the Yellow King is with us. Lols. Or a fragment of him? A shard? You've been in the Caravanserai for 3 days straight, doing nothing but research. You've had water, thanks to the magical decanter, but no food, probably no sleep, because of course the sooner you get this done, the less debilitating the lack of food will be. So 3 days poring over those books, 3 days in a single room, 3 days of the continuous prattle of the Yellow King, 3 days of fatigue and frustrations and a mind-numbing sameness, but 3 days of success. And you have learned that the sun is moving in the sky. Time is moving forward here, even though it hadn't seemed to before, because you were always returning what seemed to be milliseconds after you had previously left. There is a passage of day and night here. It's just that the height of day seems to last an unreasonable, truly unfair number of hours. So you're all exhausted, you're hungry, you're probably a little short-tempered by this point, but you have the information you came here for. A list of Dreamlands relics that Lols believed would be acceptable as hospitality gifts for the mad poet. And some of them seem distressingly unique. Like, are they even obtainable anymore? But let's talk about this list again now that your characters have exponentially more information than they had even at the start of our last chapter.
So we kind of narrowed it down to the first 2 items on the list, which are the Viscount's ring and the feline tail. One of them, the Viscount's ring, feels like a diplomatic mission.
Sounds like it was last time, right?
Yep. And the feline tail sounds like a bug hunt. I've watched Aliens like 30 times in the last 2 months. Forgive me. But yeah.
Those 2 have the most immediate appeal to you all?
Because the other ones all feel super, super dangerous.
Right.
Like,
are there any that just seem like I don't even want to go there?
I don't even want to think about the one where Lowell sent Tima to seduce the pirate or whatever. I do not even want to think about that one yet. I'm not ready.
You, Katie, or
like
you, Dora?
Both.
Okay.
I feel like we need a starter dungeon, like a tutorial of being not in the Forsaken Caravanserai.
Welcome to Adventuring in the Dreamlands.
Yeah, because there's obviously, every time we've come here, there's been a huge learning curve.
Yep.
And I feel like we are not on the other side of that curve yet. And we have to keep, we have to think about what we want to come back looking like or dress like for whatever we're going to do, the things that we can control.
Or is there anything on the ship that we want to remember to pack?
To bring.
So that our lucid dream
food.
Buddies have it, like food.
Yeah, as we learned this time.
Yeah.
And also simply doing this exercise of doing all the research in 3 days in the Dreamlands opens up the possibilities of other ways to use the Dreamlands that I think we have to talk about.
Great.
Yeah. I wanted to jump in and say one of the big reasons that Vic is so interested in the feline tail and the Viscount's signet ring is because if we go and find out that our characters have already been there and been recognized for doing this, then neither of them necessarily feel as dangerous, so that we understand that rule of how this operates.
But also, if Brelin has already given his ring away, we know we need to go find a different Viscount.
Or we need to get a different thing, like the Viscount's
or a different thing,
cufflink or earring or whatever.
We also know that they didn't. You all didn't get everything the first time around, right? You prioritized.
Well, we
know that?
We think we got everything. But we don't know.
You don't know.
We don't know.
These
are the notes for approaching these things.
Right. When one of them, I think it was the idol, it's not entirely clear It sounds like they went back multiple times, and it's not entirely clear if they eventually gave it up or not. And then the red webbed foot, which is so much fun to say, Katie.
No.
That seems as though, if remember right, is that the one where it seemed like that was the last one they did, and she just didn't bother to write down the outcome because they probably then went to the Oasis.
Yeah, it says that she moved on and didn't come back to this collection of books again.
Yeah, so that could be because they went there, it was easy, it was done, and no need to go back and write. That worked.
Yeah.
If you're at the end of the project,
they're just done.
Yeah.
Not going, no time to go back and write on that.
And again, like the notes she was keeping were not intended to be parsed by anyone in the future, so she wasn't trying to be helpful to her future self.
Right. Because why would she think that she would need to do it all over again?
Yes, because she did not know about the sacrifice component. None of you knew about the sacrifice component. You knew of that you needed to... It seems as though you all thought if we get these gifts...
That's enough.
Whatever we want from the Mad Poet is ours.
We didn't realize there were 2 stages.
Yes. If you want to visit, you bring gifts, like any gracious guest. But if you want something from him...
And we also still don't actually know where the Mad Poet is.
Right. Although the Yellow King does. And I would say, it's been 3 days. Let me parse out a little bit something here that's happening with him. Sort of like you were experiencing as he was doing the research with you. He was very good at it because he's an archivist. He was not good at it because he was remembering things as he went along. He is exactly as blank about the things he can't remember as you are all about your former selves or former bodies. Because I know, Johnny, you had Vic already pressing on this in the very first conversation, the more you sort of poke at how is it that you know how to get there, it starts to feel more and more like maybe he has an instinctive understanding of his source. Like that is where he was created. Mm-hmm. This entity did not exist until that which is Lowell's split apart.
He can go there.
He can go home. Yes, he might just be able to feel it out. So when you were asking, like, well, then write down how to get there, and he was like, he doesn't really know. He just knows if I leave here and start walking, I know I'm going to find it.
So in other words, right now our quests are find all the different things, come back, and then make a giant trip across the Dreamlands desert with YK.
That's what it sounds like.
To get there.
But we're also, again,
and figure out what we're going to offer as sacrifice.
Yeah.
If you determine that you need something from him, I mean, it's entirely possible that a simple conversation will yield something, but... Yeah.
We need to be prepared. For that.
Absolutely.
We can't go in there and be like, oh, fuck, we have to get... we can't do that.
One of the things that Rob and I have been talking about off-air is in thinking about the fact that we were able to like use Inception-style rules to do multiple things in one night. Vic would definitely want to utilize the realities of the Dreamland, as far as he currently understands it, to craft things that exist only in the Dreamlands. Mm-hmm. So when he's waking, he would continue doing things like making the mage's assistant so that we have a every time we pop into the Dreamlands supply. But then he would also want to make versions of all the stuff that he wants to make outside of in the waking world in the Dreamland as well. And since time is not passing in the same way, or at least as far as
it's
we're
not
aware,
yet. Yeah.
To take advantage of that and do like a deep dive of getting as much food as he can from the ship stores and put it in the bag of holding and go to the Dreamlands for one night and be there for 6 months and make a shit ton of things that the party can use while they're in the Dreamlands, but taking one physical night to do it.
That's amazing.
So Johnny and I have been chatting about this, and with the current status quo, that seems totally possible. Johnny and I were chatting about like how far can this idea be bent, and looking more closely at the rules about adventuring in the dimension of dreams. I came across this sentence that I found very helpful, and I didn't have this when we talked the other day,
awesome.
Johnny.
I want to hear it.
Their adventures don't yield real treasure or experience to the waking being, although knowledge gained in the dimension of dreams occasionally aids in solving real challenges faced in the waking world, which is obviously the situation we're here. But Johnny was testing me on, like, so could I, like, adventure or learn a new language or change my feats? And the answer to that is no. Basically, the person you are when you begin dreaming is the person that you are in that dream. Just think about it like any dream. If you fall asleep and you dream that, what is
fly.
it for? Right. Or like from the Matrix, I know Kung Fu. So say you have an incredibly detailed dream where you spend 30 years training and you become a Kung Fu master. That does not mean that when you wake up, you know Kung Fu. It's a little swimmy here because this particular book in the AP is going to have you, obviously, level as you go along. But I think we have to be thinking about this slower pace in terms of time that your characters are leveling is because of your experiences and training in the real world. Every single day, obviously, Vic is working on his spell knowledge. Dabuk is meditating to the power of the city. As Katie has established repeatedly, Dora is always experimenting with the limits of the powers of her mind. And, Grip is spending every single day doing physical activities and presumably training at them. That some of the leveling you're going to experience in this book is not going to be because you fought the formless spawn in the dream. It's going to be because of what's happening in your actual lives, in the real world. But of course, anything you learn here, you can take back and use in the real world. It's so Inception-y.
So cool. Yeah,
it's so
cool.
Inception.
Cool.
It's so freaking weird.
And we haven't had the experience of it yet, but one of the questions that I really was putting to Rob about this was, well, if we're doing that, if I'm going to go in and be in there for a couple months, then am I able to sleep? Am I able to prepare extracts? Am I able to? And Rob's answer was, we don't know. You haven't done it yet.
Yeah, haven't done it yet.
But just the idea of
we have
going
learned
to
definitively you need food. These
Yep.
bodies need food.
need
and water.
food, need water.
Yeah.
And
you feel the passage of what your body considers to be a day. You feel that passage of time.
But it doesn't feel like the body doesn't feel like 3 days have passed.
So we're still in your lucid dream bodies. Those dream bodies do feel as though 3 days have passed. They're exhausted, hungry.
we're wrecked.
You're wrecked. You're absolutely wrecked at this point.
How about the effects of Jamandor on time in the dreamlands as well? Like 6 months go by and you're dreaming mind.
You're gonna have to
Does
make
your dreaming
6
mind have to
fort
make
saves.
That's another thing we don't know. I would say, based on that 41 roll that Johnny got that caused me to give you the big info dump, I think your characters would be assuming that what's happening to your body is only keyed to your actual body, your waking body, that your lucid dream body it's an entirely different project.
Because we can't beat we can't beat the DC in the dream because it doesn't affect our waking body.
And also, your lucid dream body is not what's carrying the physical seed that is changing your internal makeup into fungus. But if you spend 6 months, will the dream version of that seed? Yeah, you don't know. You don't know yet. Your guess would be the real place to be concerned about any progress with Jamandor is the waking world, even though he is a creature of dreams.
Mind breaking. All right, should we go back to the real world and discuss things? Because I feel like all of our dream bodies are exhausted and squirrely and tired.
All right, we bid farewell to the Yellow King, and we wake. It's the morning of the 6th of Kuthona, day 26, mile 236 of our journey. It's warmer again today. Heavy fog, good wind. Can't quite see the elven homeland, Kyonin, today, but knowing that it's there and that you're closing in at some point here on the end of your days on Lake Incarthen must be a relief. As you wake up, your waking bodies feel the same as they have. You don't feel as though you don't wake up hungry. You don't wake up as if you haven't eaten in 3 days. You don't wake up extra special exhausted. There's just that mental gymnastics going on of now your mind has not shut off for 4 days straight. You have not had the respite of sleep for your thoughts, for your brain space, for the rejuvenation of your general mental health. That is a piece that you're feeling. That's definitely a piece that you're feeling. And I think, Johnny, too, one of the questions you had been wondering, might there be sanity impact to a long-term abuse of this? Yeah, there might be. There might be. Not feeling it yet, no crunch. But if you're talking about spending 6 months in a single room, there may be impact to that.
Yeah. That, of course, then makes me go, how is YK at talking and giving?
Well, he's not.
Oh, you mean for counseling?
Yeah.
This would be
He's
something
not
that
that.
your waking body would experience when you wake, and yeah,
We'll talk about it when we
we'll
get
burn
there.
that bridge when we
Also,
get there.
he's kind of only half there. Like, his positive spin that he puts on anything is sort of not complex. It's a weird. Dora would consider him a weird therapy choice,
Right.
because of he's not complete. He doesn't have the full range of, like, he understands frustration, but he won't let himself feel it with other people. You know, like, just that brief talking to him makes me feel like he would be a pretty simplistic therapist, and I'm not sure how helpful that would be.
Right.
An inability to see all sides of,
Because he either seems to not remember or not have processed
yeah.
so much about his
Yeah.
previous life experience.
I would be.
How helpful would you be when you can't imagine anyone doing anything bad
Yeah.
or experiencing?
You don't have the broad
True suffering.
spectrum of human emotions at your disposal.
Yeah.
You can't apply them to what other people are explaining to you or telling you, or I don't know if he'd be very good at it.
So as always, when you wake up, you have a certain window of time, like less than an hour before Dabok has to go right to work. So if the characters are planning on putting a plan together for the day or rehashing what's just happened,
I
checking
just
in.
have a
Yeah.
question, and this is, I don't think Grip has the mental capacity to have this thought, so this is just me.
Yeah.
So we just spent 3 dream days.
Yep.
We came back, it's just one night's sleep.
Yes.
What I'm interested to find out, and this is one thing that gives me pause about these spend 6 months crafting. Is there a time concern in the Dreamlands? Like, is there a clock in there that we're up against that something we might not like? Is spending 6 months crafting before we do any of these things, is that letting something else move forward?
I feel like the time concern is against Lowell's reaching his destination, which is in the real world. Like, he's done all this. We're not chasing the same things we are.
Right.
He's been to the Mad Poet. He's got the information about Neruzavin, and now he's going to find it.
But assuming, is Neruzavin in the waking world or the dream world?
It's in the waking world.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he got the information from the Mad Poet in the dream world.
Yeah.
He got some information for sure.
Okay.
Or he had an experience
Yes.
that then
Shattered him and got his
led
waking
him
body
going
moving.
this direction that we're following right now.
Yes.
That's all we know.
Yeah. A lot of people were broken.
Yeah.
At that encounter.
The Dreamlands feels like a big cheat as far as the Mad Poet quest goes. It's like we've got all the time in the world that we can spend there based on how many times we can successfully cast this ritual and survive.
Which is every single time we cast this ritual is a chance for it to go wrong.
Yes.
And for us to experience massive amounts of danger and harm to the ship and to the people involved.
That
in
is the
in
cost of
ritual.
not
That
having
is
to
the cost
do these.
every single time we
Absolutely
go
true.
currently.
Absolutely
That
true.
is the cost of saving all this time finding the things we need,
Right.
which is a huge boon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we saw, one of the 4 nights you've gone so far, you came awfully close. Like,
Yeah.
you actually did roll multiple, whatever it takes for you to fail at 1s or 2s or whatever. It is possible. At some point, it seems mathematically impossible that it won't happen, that you'll have to deal with an inanimate dream
Why
on the
would
ship.
you bring that on us?
I can't
Don't
wait for it to
say that out loud. God.
I think it's only if we say it.
To jump back into our waking bodies and having woken up, I think that Vic is just like gassed from the experience of having stayed up for 3 days and gotten all this information. I don't know how the rest of the characters are processing stuff, but I think that Vic is he's very glad that he doesn't have to go and work a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was, well, that worked, but shit.
Yes, there is a tremendous disconnect, isn't there?
I really want some food.
My mind is lingering on that idea, but I'm not actually hungry.
But just to want to have the experience of having food.
Right.
Even if you're not physically hungry, like...
Is how Vic is processing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when are we thinking we're going to go back again?
Not tonight.
I'm seeing nodding from the gripper.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to go curl up in a corner until my shift, I think.
If we aren't going tonight, I'll let the captain know. I'll see y'all later.
See you on deck.
Dabwood drags their weary ass up to the deck to go right to work after 3 days without sleep.
But with sleep.
I know. And I just have to wonder, like, the days you're having as your two bodies are now drifting further and further into two separate timelines, and the monotony of sailing for hundreds of miles on a lake covered in mist. Like, Dabwick didn't have the experience at Briarstone Asylum, but to a certain extent, they're feeling some of it now, of just like, I can't see beyond the boundaries of this. I am having an experience that is both real and not real.
There's nowhere to go again, and the camaraderie of the fellow halflings and others on the ship is not a comfort.
Right.
Because you can't share Zeraman Dor with Lin and Din.
Right.
So whatever Dabwick's going through is not something that they feel they can really share with anyone, although they're comfortable with the captain. The captain's going to make sure that they do their duty.
Yeah.
So it's off to work. Bury it down deep into the fungus that's growing in the brain.
So Grip is hanging out in the morning and then work in the afternoon.
Hey.
Give me that profession sailor check.
Fuck you, natural 20 for 24.
Oh my god.
Born
Wow.
sailor.
I just love this.
This is a great story
the
that
fact
you're
that he
telling.
finds this set of duties, he's thriving at them after that long stretch of feeling like all he was good for was violence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, and I think he continues to what's the word? Meditate from time to time.
Sandstanding.
No, I think that he's definitely digging it and likes feeling useful, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. What's Dora's day?
Dora doesn't have any research projects, I don't think.
You covered that all in a day.
So I think she's going to spend time, speaking of meditate, she's going to do that. She's going to meditate on a lot of things. She'll probably spend about half the first hunk of the day doing this, meditating on things like the separation between the lucid dreaming body and her waking body, and the disconnect there between how one feels and how another feels. Meditating on the 7 quests and just sort of letting her mind roll through those. And at the end of that, she's going to take notes on all of it. But she is going to hold something in her other hand while she does it. She doesn't want Tima's input. She wants just her thoughts on adventuring in the Dreamlands, what they're about to face, just like letting her mind, not automatic writing, but letting her mind go. It's her way of reconciling the disconnect between her nighttime activities and the waking world.
Yeah, and continuing to
Yeah, I don't think
keep
there's
this
any,
wall of separation
Yeah.
between you and Tima.
for now.
Not engaging with.
Not engaging. There's no point in it.
Right.
And I don't think there's any mechanical benefit here, but it does require focus and concentration and mindfulness. So that is what she is. That's where she is.
Yeah, and I think like deliberately spending some time meditating on this feeling would probably be, we don't have a specific crunch for this yet, but it would be mechanically helpful to kind of recenter your brain and process those 3 days as a dream, process what you're actually feeling as reality, and to start to separate those two and find a way to, and you're used to living with dualities already.
Yeah.
Find a way to live with these multiple things I'm feeling.
Yeah. And multiple things that are true.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think it's probably very good for her.
Yeah.
I think it's probably very good for her.
Yeah.
I assume Vic is just jumping back to work.
I think that Vic is at first he tries to just kind of rest, but the resting makes him think about it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I need
totally
my
buy that.
physical body needs to be doing something. I need to get my mind off of this because it's not actually giving me any respite.
You need a jigsaw puzzle.
Exactly. So I think that he continues to work on, today he's going to work on crafting more Mage's Assistant and working on the 7th day of an extract.
And that's the final day on that one, isn't it?
It is.
All right, let's actually make some rolls for these then before we move on. I need an alchemy check and your choice, either Arcana or Nature.
All right, let me do my alchemy check first. Oh man, that's a natural 1. That's an 18.
That's still success. It's DC 12 for a first level spell. Gets harder the higher level spell, as you can imagine, but yeah.
Yep.
And again, I think this is just baseline of how Vic's brain is processing this stuff, and he's just now reached a baseline level of competence where these first level formula are not something he's going to biff. Give me that Arcana check.
Oh man, another low roll. That's a 13.
Again, DC 12. Ooh, that was close.
Oh, but you know what? That makes perfect sense for how he would be operating today. That he's trying to focus on it and get his mind, and it keeps drifting back to.
Yeah.
Remember when you were awake for 3 days, like
That was fucked
earlier
up.
today, when you were awake doing all that research and stuff, and trying to not, and while doing all this stuff, also thinking about all the different quests, all the different things, and what should we be focusing on, and what's the most dangerous, and why would that be dangerous, and oh shit, what am I doing right now?
Right. You have a new first level formula. Go ahead and knock 100 gold pieces worth of materials off your list and tell us what Vic just created for himself.
Magic weapon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just because the thought that if something happened to Vanity, still have the alchemical torch, and I know that we all have magical weapons, but if we find something that would be very helpful, can always pour this oil of magic weapon on it and be able to use it
Fantastic.
in a tight spot.
Very nice staple to have. All right, and then let's make a roll on your Mage's Assistant.
19.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
That's a fail.
That's not even if I spend the inspiration, it's not going to be enough. And again, makes sense why it would be a fail today.
You can spend the inspiration and get to 20, and that's...
Oh, it's 20. I thought it was 25.
No,
All
it's
right.
20.
Well, then I will spend a point of inspiration to hopefully not fail.
Last time you did this, you got 16 gold pieces of work done. Today, 4.
That was a +5. Yep.
Yeah, so work is achieved, but it's kind of garbage work. It's the work of an apprentice, effectively.
It's some days you eat the bear, some days the bear eats you.
The bear
Piecework.
has eaten you.
Yeah.
And then tonight, we're getting a normal night's sleep. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that idea. I like
Thanks.
that idea. The night of the 6th passes peacefully. What's the plan for the 7th? We going back to the dream tonight? Is this the
What do you
crafting
wanna
craziness
do?
night?
So
Yeah.
what I think this is the night that Vic says,
We're not coming with you for this, right? Or are you imagining us there for 6 months too?
No, I think this would be the sort of thing where maybe we go in just to make sure again everything is okay, and then you all leave and I stay.
That is so scary.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like the reward is worth it, but it is really very scary.
And this is. I think that Vic would talk to you first.
Yeah.
And so.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking maybe you all could come and just to get us in and make
It
sure
would be
that
an
everyone's safe.
interesting
And then,
experiment to leave you there and then try coming back the next night without you, though getting there without you would be more difficult.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
well, no,
He would just.
I'd wake
You would
up.
all wake up at the exact same time, but minutes would have passed for you and months for him because your bodies, no matter how long you stay, wake up like 5 to
Right.
7 hours later.
Right.
I know it's.
I know it's crazy. And
a
also
bit of a-
once
Right.
you wake yourself out of the dream, then you literally cannot go back that night to him
Yeah.
because the next thing that happens to you is your body wakes up 6 to 8 hours later. I think.
right, there's no going back to check on him.
No.
There's no going back.
No.
Well, then once I talk to you and get you on board, then I would bring it to everybody and go.
Dora's on board with reservations, obviously, but not gonna stop you from doing this.
Let's assume this is happening before Dabwick would meditate in case what happens here. Well, Paul can prepare spells based on this conversation, not not after.
Thanks.
Are you planning on doing this tonight?
I don't see why not.
Should I stay there with you?
You wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yes, and the problem is food.
Yeah.
You would effectively cut the time he could stay in half by using the resources that he needs.
But that doesn't really matter, right? You just put enough in the bag of holding.
No, there's
No.
only so much food on this boat.
And
Right.
there's only
Yeah.
so much space in the bags of holding. When you're
Right.
talking about food for months,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, if you were talking about a
it
week,
is-
In terms of the actual
limited.
food, it lays next to him for a week or for a night. Like it doesn't.
Yes, but in the Dreamlands, it is a finite amount of food
Right.
Yeah.
that you would then need half of.
I was only thinking if something goes south,
Then I wake up.
here's hoping.
Would you be able to have Major's assistant with you in the Dreamlands in case you needed to wake up quickly to help you with your concentration check on the fly?
I would.
That
I mean,
seems
at
like
the very least, the one sitting in your
Yes.
pack could go in his pack
We
for
only
tonight.
have one of those.
Right now.
Yeah.
This does seem like a solo mission,
Yeah.
and therefore the choice is yours. I will, of course, lead the ritual if that is what you wish.
I think it would be worthwhile. But I wanted to ask you all first in case.
Vic,
Well,
very seriously, I think you should have your affairs in order before you do this. So,
Oh.
if that takes more than tonight, then
I mean, you're all the people in the world that I know.
Somewhere Maeve pouts.
He's already given away our house. So
It's true.
Yeah.
He has divested, hasn't he?
No, I'm good. Although I will want to make sure I bring some paper and something to write with.
Although YK has like a giant stack of paper and stuff, right?
Yeah, but you can't bring back. Oh boy, nothing you write
can't-
there you can't bring
you
back
can't
with you
bring it
anyways.
back anyway,
But
yeah.
yes, he has plenty of stuff.
But anything that I wrote in the Dreamlands would remain and exist in the Dreamlands,
It seems like it, yes.
possibly.
Based on your
We have not
existing
actually
experiences.
tested that.
Right.
Right.
I would say you've got every reason to assume that for sure.
But when I go back, I can look on the floor and see if the things that
Yeah.
YK wrote are
Yep.
still there, then they would still be there.
if you write something
you
in your
need something that we wrote,
Right.
which I'm sure we did during the
You did.
during
You
the
did.
research over
Absolutely.
the 6 things.
Okay.
So you'd need to find out if there's something we wrote. Still
That's a
there.
hypothesis you can test.
But
Yes.
then I will also make sure that I bring writing material with me.
Great.
I mean, it doesn't seem as crazy as half the shite we've tried. So,
Well, then let's do it.
Is there anything in particular you want to prepare?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, if we're not adventuring, I would prepare all the support spells we need.
Remove disease and lesser restoration.
We should check remove disease today. However many you had prepared.
That would be 3.
All right, so you'd start in Andorra.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, we also have the morning of the 6th. This is 2 days worth, so let's start with the 6th.
So really what I need to be doing is making caster level checks.
Yeah, that's all you need to do.
Right. And what's the DC?
27.
27? Okay. The first rolled a 20 total. That did not work.
Okay. Second one on Andorra again.
Second one on Dora again also rolled a 9 total.
Okay, you want to try grip now?
And I'll do grip. There we go. That's a 27 natural 20 on the die.
Hell yeah. So how much
Nice.
damage are you sitting on, Robert?
1.
1?
Yeah,
So
I mean it's a
one casting of lesser restoration, then you're good for a month. All right.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So Gripper is
Remove disease or lesser restoration.
so the remove
Lesser
disease
restoration.
just gave you the ability to use lesser restoration to cure him. Wow. All right. So calling on their deep understanding, Dabs is able to temporarily suspend, maybe not halt, but suspend the progress of this seedborn infestation in Grip long enough to cast Lesser Restoration and get his charisma back. Fantastic. All right, that was the 6th. Let's roll for the 7th.
All right, so that's an 8 on the die. Plus 7 is 15.
No good.
Ooh, here we go. 18 on the die plus 7 is a 25. That's a 2 on the die. That's 27.
With an action point, Dabs is able to allow Dora to be healed. Were you just down 1? Is that
Yes.
right? All right, so again, it took
Thank you
3
so much.
castings of these spells, 2 days, to just simply give them the ability to bring those 2 back up to their current state of health for the rest of this month until we start making those checks again.
It also reduces the dent.
Yes.
Like, you know, like not letting it build up. Like Grip could die of it if you
Yeah.
took too many consecutive months of damage.
If we look at like Barnabas and Dora, there are like kind of character crippling mechanical consequences. But in the case of Grip, like, death is a
What's
very,
the most that could happen in one?
just 2, fortunately. Yeah.
So
It's a
but
slow-moving
that's like,
infection.
It's 5 months
Yeah. If you did nothing.
if you did
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
So there would be a whole conversation with Katzen of explaining what it is that I want to do.
Understand you wanted to talk to me?
Yeah, so I know that you all are aware of this ritual that we've been doing down in the holds, right?
I have some understanding of it, yes.
Our bodies are kind of split apart and our dream selves go into this other dimension, but nothing physical here gets taken there. It all still stays here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this other dimension for like 6 months. But to do it, I need food. And so what I'm asking is, could I take the ship's food stores and put it in our magical bag? It'll stay right down in the hold. It won't go anywhere. But then my dream self would be able to use it. It would only be there for one night. I know. It's very confusing. I have to wrap my brain around it some too.
So you're going to create dream versions of all our food, and you're going to eat it there.
I know. When you say it like that, it sounds kind of silly, but basically, yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere here,
It doesn't go anywhere here.
but we still have to use the person hours to load all that food into your magical containers. Is that not true?
Would it take hours to? I'm asking the question of like taking stuff and putting it into the bag. Would that take?
6 months of food? That'll take some time.
Well,
Okay.
and how
And this is something that, of course, Dabs and Stasi and Barnabas and Dora and
Yeah,
can
we
help
can
out
help.
with. Yeah.
but
Grip
like
will be working.
can we get 6 months of food? Like, is there
Here's what-
6 months of dried food?
Here's
You know,
what
like
here's
the-
what I'm saying, because I don't want to get too deep in
Yeah.
the weeds. If they take everything else out, I'm gonna wave my hand and say, okay, you can fit 6 months of food in there, even though that seems a little bit of a stretch to me, but this is a fun idea, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun with this.
Yeah.
But all of the equipment, all of the loot, all of those extra items, all that stuff is staying on the ship. because there's not enough room in these bags, because this is not a level 3 bag of holding, it's level 1.
Right.
There's only so much space. And Vic will have room for the exact alchemy kit that he needs, plus the rest of the food that he's going to need to survive. So he's not going to have all that laundry list of shit on his sheet.
So it's materials
food,
and equipment
alchemy
and
kit.
food.
Yeah, and whatever like little things he needs to do what he's going to do.
And
Amazing.
and some paper and a writing thing.
Yeah, and this seems like, I think 6 months is as far as if we're looking down the road, when inevitably this comes back, I think 6 months is the limit of what you can fit for one person. Whew. All right, as long as you've got the bodies to do this, which it seems like, Dabs can help, Grip is working, but Dora can help, Barnabas does. Sure, we'll say you take the afternoon. Oh my God, to open up these 2 little bags and then put 6 months of food into those extra dimensional spaces. Yeah, all right. You're on
Mind blown.
You're on good terms with this crew? Are we doing this?
Yeah.
This is bonkers.
Let's
This is
stroke that
insane.
staircase.
Ew.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's what we do.
It is what you do.
Don't look at me like I'm the freak.
Make
So-
your fingers take those little tiny steps down the stairs.
So the 6 of you gather down in the hold, and now it feels a little weird as you stare deeply into each other's eyes, stroking the staircase, as Grip put it. Give me let's start with knowledge arcana checks, Katie.
+5, yeah.
Yep.
34.
right.
I'm sorry, 39.
Second one,
30.
plans.
25.
Okay. You're golden. The rest is gravy at that point.
Yep.
Staircase is fashioned to the dream world. You split yourselves in 2 as a team, walk down it, and materialize outside of the Forsaken Caravanserai. The only one I'm particularly interested in at this moment is, how is Vic presenting when he appears at the beginning of a 6-month adventure?
Vic is presenting exactly as himself, as he looked when his waking body fell to the floor. He is trying to keep reality in his brain as strongly as possible.
All right, he's holding on to the reel. Okay.
And realizing and going, this is what I'm doing is not real.
Continuously stressing that to yourself.
Well, this is part of the reason why I wanted to bring the writing paper, and I'll get into that as we go along, kind of thing.
You're able to get upstairs to the Mad Poet's chamber. It indeed has just been milliseconds for him since you were last there 2 days ago.
The Mad Poet?
Oh my gosh.
Neat.
I do.
You really did skip
Roll
6
initiative.
months.
The Yellow King, he is, of course, delighted to see you and delighted to discover that he's going to have a pal for the next 6 months. So to your early question, I think you would, amongst all the scattered detritus of the days and days worth of research that you've now done in the space, I think you would find sufficient evidence that the stuff that you write on the ledgers and things in here, if you do it, it does indeed stay there. That you probably would have to take this stuff out. And it doesn't seem like the only thing, after 3 days now, the only thing you have actually witnessed the Yellow King create, manifest for himself, is sustenance. All of these objects, these ledgers, these maps, these journals and stuff from the accursed bookkeeper, they seem to have been here and he's just moved them around. But he doesn't make more of them. And I think to your question, Johnny, like, is the stuff on the floor where we last tossed it? Yes, everything seems to be where it was. And again, for him, it really is like you disappear and then you walk through the door.
Dora has a question for him before we leave.
Well, I think Vic is going to be spending some time to get himself organized and set up.
Well,
So
do you want Dora to explain to him what's about to happen, or have we already done that? Or
I'd say start talking. Feel free. Jump in.
So Vic is getting his shit put together. You all looking around to make sure that there's no sign of the formless spawn creeping up the stairs.
In fact, to that end, sir,
Yes.
have you ever seen another creature here other than us?
Well, when I go downstairs, of course.
You go downstairs.
Well, I haven't in the past. I guess I haven't since you've been here.
Because of the formless spawn?
So Dora would know that he has not experienced any time without you since you first met him. Because the instant you leave, you instantly come back. So
I meant more before we came.
Oh, yes, there were, of course, thousands of years that I was here, wandering around in the desert, trying to get away, exploring through the space, finding everything ruined. There was...
Or is this is... In hearing this as Vic is setting things up,
Sure.
This sounds very much like our experience of the dream of having made our way
Traveled
here. Maybe.
I don't think he could tell the difference.
Right.
Right.
Right, like, and even probing at that question, you're gonna...
So there is no point asking him if at any time the formless spawn has come up these stairs, because
He would say no. No, it has not.
it doesn't mean it can't.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you talking about the black sludge thing in the baths?
Yes.
I just kept that curtain closed.
That was wise.
There's no water in there anymore. And I don't really seem to get dirty. Oh my god, do I smell horribly?
Does he?
He does not.
No.
You actually smell pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Roni.
No problem, YK. Why'd you call me Roni? Oh, never mind.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. No, you asked me to call you Vic. I'll call you Vic. I'm sorry. There are certain ideas fixed in my head, you see. They are difficult to break.
I understand that.
So you're gonna stay here with me.
Yeah, that's the plan.
How much
Really?
do you know about the desert, the eastern desert here?
How much do I know about the Eastern Desert here?
Planes check.
Yeah, please check.
Let's check.
31.
22.
This is what he says to Vic, which I think, as he's saying it, this is making sense to Dora. I don't know that she... So this is information that obviously her body has processed at some point, but I don't know if she was thinking in those terms until this moment. So a reason this place is considered, this whole region is considered to be so dangerous, it's not simply the distance from civilization, not just distance. If you plan right and you prepare and you bring the right supplies and you never veer off course, you could conceivably get to Sol or Gak or even Sarnath from here. Maybe, just maybe. But the other direction, the east, you follow one heading, you end up at the Pool of Night. It's over. Another way, you end up at the Night Ocean. That might even be worse. And we probably shouldn't discuss Irem, but you see, the greatest danger is that the entirety of the Eastern Desert, especially the further east you go, especially in the direction of the Mad Poets awaits, this is where the Dreamlands end. This is the border country. This is the transition. This is the thinning. One wrong turn and I walk into a place where I become what? I don't even know. I think I'm nothing but dream stuff after all. But your minds, you might never return, or at least not before your body dies of old age. This is a dangerous place to mess around with. I have every reason to believe that we are still in the Dreamlands here. And this is where Dora would know for 100% fact because of the way the Dreamlands excursion ritual works. Yes, you are in the Dreamlands, you are not in the dreaming. But in his mind, the dangers of leaving this place make this whole area treacherous. So Dora wouldn't have remembered that on her own, but she's able to put together, yes, that's true, but she would feel rock solid that if you're here, you are in the Dreamlands. Like those rules that, as far as you understand them, will be obeyed.
Is he saying that the Mad Poet is not? Or that he is on the edge of the border of the Dreamlands and the dreaming?
Yeah, he's not sure.
He's saying he's letting us know that when we have to come back and follow him to the Mad Poets, it's going to be dangerous.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Understood.
And also, I don't know. I know what's happened to my mind over these 1,000 years I've been here, which is very little. But I'm not mortal, am I? I don't know what's going to happen to you, Vic.
Yeah, well, it's a calculated risk.
Do you think that you could keep an eye on him and caution him to return if you see signs of trouble?
I like suggesting possible plans of action to people. Yes, I can do this. Dora, you putting me in charge. I like it.
Of this one thing? I suppose I am. But, by the very implication of me putting you in charge, I think we both know who is really in charge.
It's a philosophical question for the ages, one which I will ponder for the next 6 months.
I wish I could stay.
All right, well, I'll see you on the other side.
Don't hesitate to leave at a moment's notice.
I won't. Thanks for this.
Yeah. As you hand me the mage's assistant.
See you in the morning.
Yeah.
Hey.
Remember to try to sleep.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Definitely doing that.
So the three of you return to the raking world?
Never split the party.
Yep. Never split the party for 6 months.
It's really only 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours.
Well, we'll see.
It is another dimension, but,
Actually, for you, it's probably like 30 minutes. You're all going to wake up within, an hour or so of each other.
I thought no matter how long you stay.
Yeah, you all will wake up
Yeah.
within half
Yeah,
hour.
we're there
of each
5
other.
minutes, and he's there 6 months, but it's
Same
still
period of time.
5 to 7 hours.
I can't wrap my head around
I know.
this, obviously.
All right, so Johnny, Vic watches the three of them fade into nothingness like they themselves were a dream.
Yep.
What happens the next 6 months?
I think that the very first thing that Vic does is he tries to figure out a routine
Yeah.
of when do I eat, when am I working, and when taking breaks to move around, just treating his dream self as much like a real body as possible.
So very different experience than the last time. You're going to try to be regimented, ordered.
Yes.
Keep things as normal.
Keep it as normal as possible. Taking time to talk to YK throughout this, ask him questions, get to know him. I mean, because we would literally be, we would become friends over the next 6 months, because I would have spent more time with him
Than the rest of the party.
than the rest of the party.
Oh my God.
So I would know him so well. I would know everything about him that there is that he is able to share with me.
Yeah.
Because there would definitely be times where we'd be like, well, let's fuck around and be funny, or
Yeah.
do something to just make the time go by.
It's too bad he's so cripplingly shy.
Yeah.
You have to really pull him out of his shell.
Do you explain to the Yellow King what their counterpart did to you as part of this 6 months together, and you're learning so
He
much
would-
about them? Doesn't the
Thank
Yellow
you,
King
Paul.
want to know
I
about
like-
you?
I think so. I mean, I think out of boredom, if nothing else, because we're in the same room for 6 months, aside from maybe popping out to look at the desert and see that the sun is still there, to go out
Confirming,
and
yeah.
the sun is on my face for a little bit, I think that over the course of the 6 months, my dream self would get a tan, essentially,
would.
from going out.
Of
and,
course it would.
in short bursts and stuff. And the other thing that I would be doing is every single day, I'm writing down both what I did that day and also writing about the experiences that we have had up to this point.
You and the party.
I and the party.
Okay.
All of our experiences, a timeline of this is what happened, going back to the farthest memories that I have that have now been gotten back, and going, this is what happened when I was young Vic. This is what happened when I was Roni. This is what happened when I was Gull.
You're making a
And then-
wiki.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm making a wiki of everything that happened. So
Yeah,
that
so
if-
why?
to remind myself that this is not real, first of all,
Yeah.
and also with the thought of having lost my memory and experiences before, that if I lose them again, there is a physical thing written in my own hand in the Dreamlands that tells me what happened.
Yeah, so you can tell yourself in your own words who you are and what's happened to you.
Exactly.
I appreciate it, Johnny. You've put some thought into this. I think these are the exact kind of activities you'd have to engage in order to keep yourself even approaching sane over such an excruciatingly long period of time. What are the activities that you're doing? Like, what do your days look like? What are the things that you're making?
I mean, the first thing would be to get probably 12 different things of Mage's Assistant so that we each had 3 versions of it that could be used, so that in our dream bodies could do it, and then have a +5 bonus to concentrate and get out of there.
Great. Okay, what else?
8 things of Soothe syrup.
Okay, and?
8 things of air crystals.
What are those?
They give you like a minute of, if you basically pop it in your mouth, then you can be underwater for a minute as long as you don't open your mouth. It gives you air to breathe for a minute.
Oh my God! So
Like
you're
thinking,
just
I'm trying
cooking
to
these
think
amazing
about like the
alchemical
things that we have coming up of, oh, okay, there's like water, and I'm like, there might be a chance where we need to go underwater, and I don't know that we have stuff, so
Yeah.
trying to think of like things like that.
How many of those are you making?
8. It seems like a fair amount.
Okay, what else?
4 things of salt tablets.
Tell me about those.
These tablets of pressed salt help stave off dehydration. Taking a salt tablet once every 24 hours grants you a +2 circumstance bonus on saving throws to avoid heat stroke and on constitution checks to avoid thirst.
And anything else?
Yep. So, 1 thing of smelling salts.
Okay, what else?
8 things of anti-plague.
Okay.
Liniment. Basically, you get 2 points of ability damage back for, I think, like 30 minutes.
Temporary relief.
Temporary relief kind of thing.
Let's see, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. All right, we're getting near the end of your food. Anything else?
Drought powder.
I don't know that. What's that?
Consuming 1 dose allows you to go without water for 3 days instead of 1, in growing discomfort but without any negative effects. After this time, you must attempt a constitution check once every 6 hours instead of once per hour to avoid taking non-lethal damage.
Oh, wow.
1 dose of drought powder functions for 1 week, after which penalties for thirst accrue at their normal pace. So thinking about like the long trip that we're going to have to possibly take.
Yeah.
In the desert and being prepared for it.
All right.
And then if I've got any time left over, if I've got no time, then that's it.
No time.
Great. I love it.
Whew.
I love it. Like those are, I was like trying to figure out things that specifically were just used to survive here.
That's 6 months of your life, my friend. And as you say, when Vic walks out of this experience, he has spent more time with this version of Lowell's than he has with any of his companions. He has spent more time sitting in this room than doing anything else his entire life. How does he hold up?
I think he starts to get kind of squirrely at the end. Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, his hair is growing longer, and like his beard is growing longer, and he starts to kind of
like he makes the effort to maintain at first, and
then it starts to drop off, and so he's still taking physical care of himself, but like his appearance and things like that. And
does it change? Does his hair grow in the Dreamlands?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And that's the piece that gets harder and harder for him, because he's going through these exercises of reminding himself that this is not real. But the longer he stays, like he goes to bed, he wakes up, he feels tired, he has to eat food, his beard grows, his fingernails grow, his body gets achy from all of that, like just sitting.
Crunchiness of like doing these stuff, creating and crafting these things.
And like you were saying, like, of course, probably at first he's real good about going outside, getting some sun, walking around, and that may just...
Getting some sun.
yeah.
There's that patio. There's places you can get a little bit of sun.
2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's that feeling of like all of that starts to fall away, and oh my God,
I mean,
it just feels torturous.
I think there definitely feels also the thing of I go out of the room and go maybe 5 feet and then make a little mark on the floor and go, I'm not going to go any farther than this mark. And then, take a step past it.
Right.
And then
Just to
I'm not going to
test
go
it.
any farther past this mark,
Yeah.
And so it's a very, but always being aware of how far away I am as I'm breaking my self-imposed strictures of you have to stay in the room, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Just again, out of absolute squirreliness.
And we'll both do some thinking about this, the fact that you are now closer to the Yellow King than you are to anybody in the world, and what that means. And because this version of Lowell's desperately needs and wants to be cared for,
And to care for others.
I think that's a slowly evolving piece. But
he wants connection.
He wants connection.
Yeah.
He wants the feeling that, because, the actual Lowells grew up in a world where he was used, ignored, or manipulated, just in a kind of in a way like you all were. But he hadn't had actual care and attention. And I think the more he spends time with Vic, and he reflects back on what he thought he remembered about his time with his mother, which I think he labeled as, she was so attentive, she was so kind. He starts to process that as, right, time was spent with me, but I can't remember specific care or love. Like his own processing of what he thought his life had been is also going through a 6-month period of change and adaptation and
growth.
transition. And yeah, I think there would be growth. He's not mortal. The way he grows is slower than I think you would experience, but
And I think it would require another person.
Exactly.
He can only grow.
Exactly.
So I'm also giving him this gift of experience and life.
You are.
You're rounding him out.
Yeah. Yes, the dreamer is changing the dream.
So the other thing that would be happening is I would be asking him about, what do we need to have for this desert trip as an archivist, as someone that lives in I would want to know, give me the list.
And he could put together that list for you because he does remember the last trip to the Oasis. So there's a certain point in that voyage where they ran out, they didn't quite have enough.
Exactly.
The end of the trip was a little more difficult than it needed to be, and he would have lessons to carry away
What
from
were the
that.
mistakes that you all made? What were the things that we would need?
Yeah. Amazing. And then, on the morning of the 8th of Chthona, the 28th day of our journey, mile 244, Vic, I just rolled the dice, Vic is the first to wake up. So when Grip wakes up about 10 minutes later, you know what? Hang on. Give me a will save. I want to check your sanity.
Absolutely.
And because of the protective measures you have taken, give yourself a +2 circumstance bonus on this.
Nice.
All right. Oh no, it's a natural 1.
Perfect.
And that's exactly what would happen. Oh my God, it's so exactly what would
God,
happen.
I love that.
I mean, that is exactly what would happen.
All right, so Vic wakes up with 3 points of sanity damage.
Yeah, and I think that
My God, which is a lesser madness. Holy shit!
3 points is enough for a lesser madness?
That's your threshold. And that's the end of chapter 102. We'll pick up next time.
Oh my God! Oh, that's amazing.
Dark Nexus is produced by Plug and Hum Productions. This podcast uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Incorporated, used under Paizo's fan content policy. This podcast is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, please visit paizo.com. That's Paizo.com. Dark Nexus uses music and soundscapes by Syrinscape. Check them out at syrinscape.com. That's SYRINSCAPE.com. Opening and closing themes, along with additional music composed by Rob Kauzlaric. Artwork for Dark Nexus is by Matt Wahlquist. And thanks to DMCP, Richard and Ari, Paul and Shannon, Scotty, Jason, Jess, Joe, Chelsea, Matt, Dave, Derek, Darren, Michaela, JH, the Biscuit Buddies, and everyone we've gamed with over the years for all the memories and inspiration.
Click the tab. Click the skills. Can you find skills?
Stop. Oh my god. Did you? Yes. Did you find that? Click the skills. Find the skills. Find the skills.
Are you looking on your sheet?
Are you even in
Have you
Roll20,
tried
bro?
turning it off and turning it on again?
Oh, I didn't mean to click tell me more. God damn it.